Tomorrow will be 2 weeks since my dog passed away. She passed away June 27th. We had to euthanize her. These last 2 weeks have been extremely difficult. To be honest, I haven't felt like posting, filming. I actually have not really been on social media. When I have been using my phone, it's mostly to play games. I played Tetris a ton. I really love Tetris. And after she died, that was like the only thing I could do on my phone is play Tetris. I don't really want to go into a lot of detail, but basically, things happened really fast. We didn't even know she was sick. She had kidney failure, and I didn't know this until afterwards, that kidney failure in dogs is really scary and devastating because it can go undetected for so long. And then when it basically goes into organ failure, it happens really fast. And that's what happened with her. And, within the same day, we took her to the emergency vet, spent a lot of money on tests to find out what was wrong. Found out it was organ failure, and the treatment would be anywhere from upwards of $4,000. And we did not have the money for that, but also the vet was not confident that it would work because she was 10 years old, and she was going into organ failure. So that same night, we had to euthanize her, and it was awful. We sat with her for over an hour and just cuddled with her and told her how much we loved her. And she slept on our laps, our chest, everything. And then we waited till after midnight, so she did technically pass away on the 27th. She had to be euthanized, and I tried really hard to stay calm, but for her, because I didn't want her to be scared. But so I held her while the lady was giving her the injections, because I didn't want, I did that with my other baby. My dog who passed away in 2021, he was euthanized too. I did the same thing with him. I didn't want them to be on the table. I wanted to hold them so that they felt safe and loved, and not scared. And because of the way I had to hold her so the lady could access her arm, I could feel her heartbeat on her chest. And I felt it all the way until it stopped. And it's weird because it's like half of me feels like that was an honor to feel her last heartbeat, but also it was absolutely fucking traumatizing. And I tried really hard to stay calm because there was other people at the veterinary clinic. There was people in the waiting room. There was people in a room next to us, but I could not hold back. Once she died, I screamed, and I could not hold it back. It just burst out of my mouth, and you could hear me through the whole building. But I was devastated. And she was my baby for 10 years. She'll always be my baby, though. She was my first pug. She made my dream of owning a pug come true. I katong nagpuyo ko sa Pilipinas, katong bata pa ko or batanon pa ko, nakakita ko pag, kaysa una kami sa akong pamilya, magbaktas mi sa Jack's Ridge. Og naisa kapag dito, maggawas siya kung magbaktas mi, mag-agi mi, mag-aw-aw siya sa amo tanan. And after that, I literally fell in love with pugs. And Christabel was my first pug, and she made my dream of having a pug come true. She was the best pug. She was so cuddly, so loving, truly so loving. And losing her has been so devastating. And I've just genuinely needed time to grieve. We got her aquamated, just like her brothers, Owen and Gibson, my other dogs, who passed away in 2021. If you don't know, aquamation is similar to cremation, but it's different because they use water instead of fire. And it's like, I'm not quite sure about the process. There's like a science to it, but basically they use a certain alkalized water to solution or something to process the body, basically. And similar to cremation is the ashes you get back are really just the remains of the bone that are in a powder. They actually call it remains, not ashes, because it's actually not ashes, but that's what you get back. And that's what we had done. And so now she's here in my studio, up on my shelf with my other two boys, and they're all together. I have crystals around them, and I also kept some of her fur. That was one thing that I had a regret after my boys passed away. I regretted so much that I never kept their fur. And I actually was going to ask for some advice. Here, let me go get it. So I have two different furs that I collected. This one in the Ziploc bag is the fur I collected when she was still alive. And then I didn't know that one of the vets there, or one of the people that work there, she had prepared this for me, which I thought was very sweet, for me to collect more fur. So I went ahead and did that. So this was the fur I collected after she passed away. Anyway, I know it's the same, but for me, it is different for me. I'm her mom, and so it's just different for me that this fur is when she was alive and the other is when she was already passed away. But I wasn't prepared. Like I said, this happened so fast, and when we took her, I didn't expect that night that she would be passing away, so I wasn't prepared. So I just quickly at home got what I needed, and I got a Ziploc bag and scissors. And so now all the hair is scattered everywhere. Do you see? And I don't want to lose any of it. It would really upset me to lose it. And so I've been trying to think of an idea of how do I collect all of this hair without losing it? Like, I know I need to sit somewhere where there's not a lot of air blowing or anything. But if you have an idea of how I could collect all the hair from here, should I just sit down and slowly get it with my finger? I don't know. I really would appreciate some advice, because lately I just like can't think. Anyway, I would like to get all of this hair out of this Ziploc into a container where I can actually touch it, because that was, like, right now I have not opened this since she died, and because I'm afraid it would be really traumatic for me if I, like, lost any of it. And so, like, I don't know, I don't want to reach my hand in here and then, like, some of it stick to, like, my wrist or whatever, and I pull my hand out and it just, like, gets lost. I would like to collect as much of it as I can from here so that I can touch it. So yeah, if you have an idea for that, that would be great. Anyway, I wanted to say thank you to everyone on uh, my Facebook account who prayed for me and sent me love and encouragement. One thing I did different this time is when something traumatic happens to me, I tend to hide away and I tend to not ask for help. And I didn't want to do that this time. And when I was on the way to the vet, after I gathered everything I needed, when I was on the way there to be with her for her euthanizing, I was under so much shock and stress that I can't even describe it. I can't even describe it. And so I knew in that moment, I was like, there's no way I can handle this. I thought I was going to go crazy. And I was like, don't hide away. Ask for help. Ask for help. Do something different this time. And so I posted on Facebook and I asked people to pray for me. And I swear to God, I'm not religious, but I do believe in prayer. I do believe in energy. I've literally experienced sending someone energy and also receiving energy. It works. And I asked for prayer and energy sent my way. And I swear when I got there, I felt everyone's prayers and good thoughts and energy sent my way because it held me together and it allowed me to be calm for my baby and be there with her. And it just carried me through it all. So thank you so much for that. When I was under so much shock and grief that when we arrived home after she was euthanized, I threw up and I kept throwing up and I could not stop throwing up. My body had thrown up everything and I kept having to go back to the bathroom and throw up and there was nothing left. And it caused my vocal cords to strain really bad because of the retching. And I felt like I was getting like a stomach ulcer or something and it wouldn't stop. And I couldn't keep down anything. Like after I would throw up, there was nothing left and I would try to sip water. I would try to sip Pedialyte and I kept throwing it all up. And so I finally had to take medicine to be able to stop throwing up and go to sleep. And unfortunately that night, so the aquamation place, they are open on call 24/7 so that no matter what time of night someone's pet passes away, they can contact them. So they're supposed to be on call. Well, the person that was on call fell asleep and we called, oh my gosh, we called dozens of times. We had her body that night and we had already spent so much money at the vet and their cremation, like, I don't even want to say the amount we'd spent at the vet. It was an astronomical amount of money that we didn't have. And then their cremation was like another $450 or something. We couldn't afford that. And so we took her body from the vet and we were supposed to take it to the aquamation place. Well, because I got sick and I was throwing up, I couldn't go with, which devastated me because for my other dogs, I always went with and I carried their body the whole time, the drive there. Well, because I couldn't go with and I was throwing up alone at home by myself. And my boyfriend drove all the way there. It was like over 40 minutes away and no one was there. And no one was picking up the phone. And so he had to drive all the way back. And unfortunately, while he was driving back, her body started to smell. It started to smell bad because it had already been at that point like going on 2 hours of her being deceased. And so thankfully, he called the place again, the vet, and they had just seen our situation, all the trauma that we already spent so much money, we couldn't afford anything. So they agreed to hold her body in their, freezer overnight for free. which they don't do it for free. And that was a huge blessing for us. And so he had to drive her all the way back, and she was already stinking, or her body was already stinking, and they held her. And then he came home, and we just slept. And so then the next day, I was able to go with. We went to pick her up. And this is like the part that I can't stop playing in my head. I wasn't able to hold her like my other dogs for that drive because she was already decomposing, and even though she had been in a freezer all night long, or her body had been in a freezer, because she was already stinking, and then when she got taken out of the freezer, the smell was so bad. We had to put her in a box in the trunk, but in our vehicle, the trunk is not separate. Like it's like there's a trunk, but it's still open to the back seat. And the smell was so bad that we had to drive for the whole drive over 40 minutes with all the windows down. And it was really hot and the highway was really loud, but there was nothing else we could do. And it was so hard to accept that my baby was in the trunk and I couldn't hold her. And I was just smelling her body decomposing. And I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that drive. And the whole drive I played Christina Perry's Lullaby album, Songs for Pixie. The whole drive we played that album. And me and my boyfriend just cried the whole drive. And it was so beautiful to play that album for Christabel. You know, there's songs on there like, Isn't She Lovely? And there's Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And I played that album for her. And the whole drive, I just focused on hoping she knew how much we loved her. So we get to the place and I said our final goodbyes, and then now she's here at home in her urn, and I know that she's not just, that body, she's not these ashes, she's free and happy now, but those things still matter to me. Because those things still matter to me. I'm not just gonna stop caring about her body or her fur or her ashes. I'm not gonna stop caring about that. Anyway, I just wanted to tell all of that because it matters to me. It also feels cathartic and helpful to talk about it. I feel like people don't really, I feel like still in society it's not talked about enough that dogs or any pet is family members. So the grief from them, it's not just it's just an animal. No, I'm grieving a family member passing away. It's my family. So it's really helpful to share this and also to just explain, why I've been away for a while. But yes, again, a reminder, if anyone can help me figure out how to get this out of here without losing any of the hair, that would be really helpful.